Much of the world around us is covered or comprised of microbes, organisms that are too small for humans to see. Some of these include bacteria, viruses, parasites, and pathogens. Bacteria can be found on or in other organisms or alone. Viruses are contagious agents that reproduce through living cells. Parasites receive food from hosts that they live in or on. And then we have pathogens, which have the ability to cause disease within its host organism. It is believed that the rising temperatures have an effect on diseases and how they thrive amongst us. It is hard to only look at humans for results, so researchers have also looked at plants and other animals. Organisms' immunities to diseases can fluctuate depending on temperature, but many pathogens thrive in heat. A host-pathogen interaction occurs when the pathogen feeds off a host to survive. For example, a tick and a moose. The tick feeds off the moose for its nutrients. Effects of temperature increase. The prediction was that all along with rising climate temperatures, we would also see a rise in infectious diseases. Temperature increase could mean an improvement in immune health through immune enzyme activity and bacterial resistance of some organisms. While this is positive, the immune system still can't always fight the pathogens that also thrive in higher temperatures. In some cases, warm temperatures can lower the host immunity to these things.
The metabolic theory of ecology is the relationship between all organisms and their body size, metabolic rate, and body temperature. This is important in predicting host pathogen responses to climate warming.
Host pathogen interactions in community ecology are greatly affected by climate change, with some loss of these interactions and the gain of novel species pairings. In some cases, this could result in pathogens becoming extinct, or in others, host communities could go extinct. Pathogen extinction could possibly result in reduction of disease, or it could release more pathogens from competition. On the other hand, host communities could go extinct due to the presence of pathogens.
Furthermore, keystone species' negative responses to climate change have proven destructive to species such as herbivorous abalone, which was so riddled by disease that it completely altered trophic patterns. Similarly, the decline in seagrass due to infection brought on by climate change caused many issues for fish and fowl, and even led to the extinction of another species.
Microbial communities can be highly affected by climate change, commonly in commensal and mutualistic microbes. Commensal microbes are those that feed off the host but do no harm or give anything to the host. Mutualistic benefits from the host and vice versa. A higher temperature can make these microbial communities pathogenic, so they harm their host rather than help or have no impact on them. Effects of biodiversity loss include the way diseases transmit, pathogen takeover, and decrease of microbial regulation. All of these are supported by the fact that the higher temperatures can kill off the predatory microbes and let the pathogenic microbes thrive more, causing ease of spread, takeover in the community, and no regulation on them.
Phenology is the study of periodical events and biological life cycles. Trends and migrations due to climate change are species moving to higher elevations and latitudes, which could possibly change interactions between pathogens and hosts. Climate change is also promoting changes in phenology of interactions between plants and pollinators, predators and prey, and plants and herbivores. Migration from climate change is affecting disease dynamics because certain species moving around creates new possibilities for viral diseases.
In one instance, in the Arctic, endemic species are declining through these new climate change patterns, which could cause damage to indigenous communities that require those resources. Climate change has also bolstered a rise in mosquito-borne illnesses, but modeling could provide a solution to this. New forecasting programs in Botswana have actually helped crop disease management, coral resilience, and created more sustainable environments to fish.
Making predictions on the effects of climate change in relation to disease is a difficult challenge. There are many mechanistic drivers or factors to consider, including temperature variables, precipitation, relative humidity, and extreme events. Mechanistic models need to combine ecophysiology and the metabolic theory of ecology with epidemic response variables. These models can then be adjusted to accommodate and predict a set of conditions specific to a certain pathogen. It is difficult to find changes in disease risk with climate across different systems. Some changes are easier to detect, like for organisms bound to a certain region or environment. It is more difficult to detect in humans and nomadic species. Experiments and past studies can help predict future climate effects on disease. Another difficulty is seeing how societies are impacted by the climate and disease relationship. If we find where societies are most vulnerable to disease, then we can prioritize those areas for research and so that we can be prepared for the disaster.
Climate disease interactions have affected food and water and in turn human nutrition and resources. By following patterns of human pathogen interactions and modeling future climate change implications, communities may be able to create more sustainable solutions to this wildlife crisis. And here are our citations.